Garrett Langston believed in one thing more than anything: hard work. Not good luck, not connections, not shortcuts, just plain stubborn, backbreaking work. It was what had built him, saved him, shaped him. No handouts, no inheritance, just long nights, early mornings, and the kind of grit that left your hands calloused and your soul tougher than the asphalt. His trucks drove on Langston freight wasn't built from a boardroom dream. It was born on the highways in the driver's seat of a beat-up rig Garrett had purchased with a personal loan and a vow to never default. He didn't. In 20 years, he turned that loan truck into a fleet of more than 400, his name on the side of each trailer, crossing every state line his company operated on. Deadlines, discipline, and a reputation for never missing a delivery. Garrett wasn't the type of boss who micromanaged. He paid well-expected more and allowed individuals to live their lives however they wished, as long as the job got done. That was the regulation, that was the sole regulation. You clock in, give it your all, and you reap what you sow. No excuses, no sympathy. But regulations such as beliefs can shatter. That shatter commenced on a Wednesday evening. The office was tranquil, the hum of fluorescent lighting reverberating in the almost soundlessness. Most of the employees had departed home hours ago. Just a skeleton staff huddled night dispatch, a few custodians, the occasional driver picking up coffee on his way out. Garrett sat at his glass-walled cubicle sleeves, rolled up, scrolling through Q3 performance charts. Profits up, turnover down. Everything seemed fine, and yet he couldn't concentrate. Something niggled him, something minor, something out of place. Dottie looked down the corridor towards the break room. The warm glow of a vending machine light hummed behind tinted glass. But that wasn't it, caught his attention. It was a person, a woman standing too rigid, transferring her weight from one foot to the other. He squinted. It was Maya Benton, one of his night dispatch staff assistant. He didn't know her all that well, but her name had passed over his desk a few times. Always reliable, took extra shifts. Never late, never complained, the kind of worker Garrett valued. Not because she stood out, but because she didn't. But tonight she stuck around the break room like a waiting signal. Garrett observed curiosity tingling at his otherwise intent brain. She walked towards the service window where the kitchen had long since closed down. One man stayed back of the counter, packing up. Garrett had seen him before, but did not know his name. They swapped a couple of soft words, and then the cook looked around, hesitating like he was not supposed to do next. He reached below the counter and handed her a to-go container. Maya grasped it in both hands, muttered a thank you, and stuffed it into a big frayed tote bag. She scanned around, eyes flashing like someone shoplifting, and strode quickly toward the door. Garrett settled back in his chair, lips compressed in a line. It wasn't wrong, it wasn't even against firm policy, but the way she moved like she needed to conceal it made him uncomfortable. She worked 40, sometimes 50 hours a week, more than sufficient to purchase dinner. So why did she appear as though she was begging for charity? He attempted to suppress it from his thoughts, attempted to plunge back into budgeting and logistics routings, but the figures seemed to blur. The vision of Ma sliding that box into her bag lingered with him. Despite his better judgment, Garrett stood up, reached for his coat, went outside into the evening, that he assured himself he was merely wondering that he wasn't walking a line. But the line kept shifting under his feet. Maya was halfway down the block before he spotted her. No automobile, no waiting ride. Just her shoulders huddled against the wind, walking in the direction of the nearest bus stop. He maintained his distance, observing from the shadows. The bus came in with a hiss. Maya got on, so did Garrett. He sat at the rear hood, low eyes forward. Mia sat by the middle, leaning her head on the window. Her reflection looked back at her, weary and hollow, not the sleep kind, that fixed, the kind you wore like a second skin to. As the bus drove through the city, Garrett watched the cityscape change from bright billboards and late-night diners, cracked sidewalks and flickering street lamps. He did not know this side of town. It was Atlanta, technically, but not the section on real estate flyers. Maya pulled the cord, stood, and stepped off. Garrett followed. He hung back far enough not to be seen, close enough to see. She moved with practiced purpose, turning down a dim street, passing shuttered businesses and rusted fences. Then she reached a squat apartment building, its paint-faded siding warped by years of rain and neglect. She went up the stairs, unlocked the door, and stepped inside. Garrett waited outside, concealing himself behind a parked car, heart racing for no reason through a tattered curtain. He saw it. The interior of the apartment was all but bare. A mattress on the ground, a couple of crates serving as furniture, no television, no kitchen table, only the essentials. And then there came the day that shattered him. Point two kids, no more than 5 years old, peeked out from behind the mattress. Maya knelt next to them, putting the takeout on the ground and opening it up with gentle fingers. They rushed forward, hunger scribbled in every frenzied bite she did not eat. She observed them, eyes filled with something too dense for words. Garrett stood immobile. The pieces fell into place with agonizing clarity. The extra shifts, the silent demeanor. The Chinese box, she was not working overtime to advance. She was surviving Mommy. One of the children whispered, voice too soft for the breeze. Are we going to have breakfast tomorrow? Maya hesitated, smiled naturally. Baby, I'll sort it out. Garrett looked away, throat tight. That smile was not natural. It was armor. Something to shield her children, not herself, that he went back to the bus stop without a thought. The world around him muted and warped. That night he could not sleep the next morning. Garrett sat at his desk, gazing at the same performance reports. But they meant nothing now. Numbers on a screen could describe what he'd witnessed. A knock brought him out of his reverie. His assistant peeked her head in. Maya Benton is here to see you. He hadn't been expecting that. But it was time. Send her in. She slipped inside, posture, rigid eyes, tired, the same woman, but different, like she'd erected a wall overnight. You wanted to see me? She asked. Garrett nodded. He didn't beat around the bush. I followed you last night. Her breath caught, she stood still. I saw you take the food. I saw your home. Silence stretched like a live wire. She stood up straight, a flicker of defiance arising. I'm not here to judge you. Garrett spoke fast, and I'm not here to pity you either. She examined him, looking for the catch. I should have realized it earlier. He went on, and I want to repair it. She remained silent, face unreadable. Garrett opened a drawer, pulled out an envelope, and pushed it across the desk. This isn't charity, this is investment in you, in everyone here. Still, she didn't budge. I want to raise wages, he said, create childcare options, emergency support, real support. But I need help doing it right. She finally spoke, voice barely audible. Why? Because I built this company and I let people fall through the cracks. I won't let that happen again. She glared at him, then slowly she pulled out the envelope, and no words, only a nod, and hoping that was the start, Garrett called a board of directors. Emergency meeting. His CFO, Lauren Pierce, stared at him like he'd grown two heads. You're suggesting sweeping wage increases, new benefits, and emergency reserves. Yes, that's going to alienate investors. I understand you're not rash, Garrett. What went wrong? I saw what I ought to have seen long ago, Lauren said, then she nodded. Let's do it. The boardroom fight was savage. The old guard fought back hard. We're not a charity, one investor said. Why should we pour blood for staff already earning more than industry average? Garrett's jaw was clenched. Because we operate a delivery firm, he said, and we only thrive thanks to the staff loading lorries, driving miles, working doubles. One woman, a veteran board member, arched an eyebrow. And if this costs us, then it costs me first, Garrett told them. I'll reduce my salary, my bonus, whatever it's worth. That shut them up. Eventually the votes came. Not unanimous, but sufficient, and change started. Garrett didn't leave the announcement. He stood before the whole warehouse crew that Friday afternoon, microphone in hand, and he informed them what was on the horizon. Raises, support, respect. He noticed Maya in the crowd, standing in the back, her children at her side, and for the first time she smiled, without having to conceal it. That evening, Garrett sat by himself in his office, looking out over the floor. He once believed, he knew he still believed in hard work, but now he believed in more, that he believed in people, and that belief finally was solid enough to bear more than just numbers, that it could bear lives, and it would, beginning now.